March 31st, 2019, at about 3:20 in the afternoon, there was an explosion of violence at the intersection of Slauson and Crenshaw. At that place and at that time, the world lost Ermias Joseph Ascadon, better known to the world as Nipsey Hussle. The defendant in this case, Mr. Holder, was also an aspiring rapper. They both grew up in a neighborhood of hardworking men and women, but also a neighborhood that was claimed by one of the largest criminal street gangs in Los Angeles County. As a result of being from that neighborhood and having relationships in that neighborhood, both were recruited into the gang at a fairly young age. There was a conversation between Mr. Holder and Mr. Ascadon minutes before Mr. Holder shot and killed Mr. Ascadon. And you will hear from at least two different witnesses that that conversation had something to do with snitching. If a gang member is considered a snitch, it's a whole lot different from being considered a snitch by your little brother or your little sister. There's a range of consequences for people who snitch, but no gang member wants to be considered a snitch. It is highly offensive to any gang member to even be suggested that he is a snitch. You're going to hear and see evidence that he had plenty of opportunity to think about what he was going to do before he did it and did it. And I make that point because we have charged not just murder, but premeditated and deliberate murder. The difference between premeditated and deliberate murder and murder will be argued at the end of the case.
Nipsey Hussle had made an accusation against Mr. Holder that he was a snitch. That so inflamed and enraged Mr. Holder, the evidence will show that without thinking, and a few minutes later, a mere 9 minutes or so later, Mr. Holder returned and shot Mr. Ascadon. He did not have time to cool off. The evidence will show that it was very soon after this accusation was made publicly against him that he was so enraged and triggered by this emotional response that he acted without premeditating. That's what the evidence will show. And the evidence will show that while he's charged with first-degree premeditated deliberate murder, in fact, it should be voluntary manslaughter because he was acting under the heat of passion.